Hi, I'm Aaron Heinem, and I'm here today to discuss the DryLINK ecosystem of connected products. I'd like to start off the webinar by discussing what the DryLINK ecosystem is. It is a Bluetooth-based job site data collection tool with optional remote monitoring. It includes a dry-in report, which you can use to get paid for your job and turn into the insurance company. We have an inventory tracking system, which has a basic free version, which includes the last known location of every piece of equipment. And then there's a paid version that'll be launching later this year, which will include very sophisticated inventory tracking. And then we have a web portal that will be launching in Q2 or Q3 of this year. Now let's look at the ecosystem overall. I'll start with the DryMax XL, the first data logging Bluetooth-based dehumidifier and an app, which what we did was we streamed the data from the dehumidifier to the app and then to a drying report, and we wanted to see if people appreciated the time savings, and they did, so we kept building out the ecosystem. The next thing we added is called DryTag, and DryTag is more than an asset tracking beacon, as it has an accelerometer inside, which allows it to sense vibration and thereby knowing if equipment is on or off, which is important. We then built this into the AirMax, and we call this the AirMax BLE. And what's nice about that is it will load all of its information into the app automatically for you, as we've done that at the factory. All you have to do is pull the battery pull tab on the DryTag and the information loads. You'll also see that we made a point of allowing our equipment to be, our DryTag beacons to be used on other pieces of equipment. I'm showing that here. You can put a DryTag on anybody's piece of equipment, any brand. And then next we launched what's called the DryPhone. The DryPhone is kind of like a hotspot in that it talks to all the Bluetooth devices on a job that are in range, and then it transmits that data using cellular or Wi-Fi to the cloud and builds the drying report. So think of it like the phone in the middle is like your technician's phone, and when they're on the job, all the data is streaming. But when they leave, if you want to keep streaming data and having contact with the job site, you would add the DryPhone. And you can also receive alerts as part of the DryPhone's functionality, job site alerts. Okay, and then the next thing we did was we brought the DryMax into our ecosystem. We call it the DryMax BLE. It already had the sensors on board, so we just had to add in the Bluetooth functionality and the memory. And we also have a retrofit kit that allows somebody with a DryMax that's not a BLE to be able to upgrade that to a DryMax BLE in the field. We then launched what's called the DryTag RH. This is a standalone thermal hygrometer. It has all the functionality of the DryTag, but it adds in the temperature and relative humidity readings. We use that to automate the affected area, the unaffected area, and the HVAC readings. And it has another functionality, which is allowing you to automate any readings from any non-smart dehumidifier by taking off the outlet grill, zip tying this sensor on the inside of the outlet grill, putting the tip where you would normally put the tip of your meter, your handheld meter, and then putting the outlet grill back on, and that will start streaming data. So that's called the DryTag RH. And lastly, we added the DrySense. This is bringing moisture content sensing into the ecosystem. So this is what the entire ecosystem looks like. Now I'd like to compare the DryLINK ecosystem to our competitor's Command Hub. I want to talk about the device technology. I know that I saw they were mentioning that they have not just a basic Bluetooth system, but they also have Wi-Fi. It is true, our system is Bluetooth based, and I'm going to tell you why I believe that Wi-Fi is a mistake. And when you get to the remote monitoring is where you're going to see that. So our remote monitoring is based on Bluetooth, but then the phone itself has cellular. That's the most common way we're going to stream data. You could get on Wi-Fi if you have access to that, but if you look over here at Command Hub, this is the only way you're going to be getting any remote monitoring going on. So you're going to have to get every single device that's available onto a Wi-Fi network. We don't recommend this. Bluetooth is simple. It reads all the devices in range. and then it just streams by cellular. You don't have to get anything onto a Wi-Fi network. Even if you do use Wi-Fi with ours, you're joining one thing, that is the phone, to the Wi-Fi network, and the phone is talking to all the devices directly. And then what can be in the system? Our system can have any equipment and any brand. We made it that way intentionally because we knew that it would be too big of a hurdle to ask people to change out their entire fleet, even to try this type of system. If you look over here, for the competitor system, it's the DryEase I-Series dehumidifiers with Command Hub and the HEPA 700 only. That is the only items to date that can be in their system. Then when we look at integrations, we have an integration with Restoration Manager. I'm going to call this a true integration because we're actually syncing our inventories between the two companies. We're pushing jobs into DryLINK. You can do remote monitoring, and you get a full drying report back from DryLINK in Restoration Manager. The competitors have what they call an integration with Mika. This is really mapping instant Bluetooth readings of DryEase I-Series dehus with Command Hub only into Mika. There is no sharing of jobs or syncing of inventory or any of that. When we look at remote monitoring, with our system, if you're using Restoration Manager, you would create the job once, and it would be in both systems. And then you can use the optional dry phone to do remote monitoring anytime. And again, you get that full drying report, and you'll receive alerts if the equipment is turned off. On the other system, you can see that you're going to have to recreate this job in Command Hub. You must get all devices on Wi-Fi, and you're limited on which devices those can be. And then there is no idea of a drying report in Command Hub. There is a report with graphs of the monitored equipment. Then if you look at inventory tracking, we have a complete hands-free system available for your entire inventory of equipment. There's some functionality for DryEase I-Series dehumidifiers with Command Hub and HEPA 700 only. So I just want to give you that overview so you know what you're getting into before you invest in a system. And what problems are we solving with the DryLINK ecosystem? Well, a big one right away is you can save an average of 3 to 4 hours taking readings per job. And Brandon from Phoenix did just that, so let's take a look at him taking the readings.
And here is the job. I am going to go over to drying data. Outside readings, unaffected area. Got my bedroom readings. Now I have all the readings from my garage. Have the readings from my kitchen, living room, and stairs. Have all my moisture points except for one that we didn't add a dry sense to. We can collect that reading manually. You can see now I have all of my readings taken. Now I can go in and look at them, decide what needs to be done.
And now we're going to look at taking readings the traditional way, which means manual. This video was shot at 30 times speed because it would have taken far too long to show you how long it takes, which is actually over 40 minutes to take these readings. Now, I'm not going to make you watch this whole thing, but it takes much longer, and there is a lot of time savings each time you take your daily readings. And it's pretty easy to say if your labor rate is $25 an hour, and that's probably pretty low when you consider benefits and other things involved. It's going to be $75 to $100 per job just by saving the time taking the readings. You can also prioritize your on-site visits based on the remote readings. So if you could see all of your jobs before you send your technicians out, you would definitely have a better chance of sending them to the jobs in a better order and being more efficient about it. You can save up to 30 minutes setting up jobs because this Bluetooth equipment will show up in your app, and we have a filter that makes it easy to select only the equipment that is nearby and running. So you can, it knows it's nearby because it's Bluetooth. And if you filter out the equipment that's running or not running, you can easily set up room 1, room 2, room 3, and just keep going until it's all set up. You can take readings remotely if you cannot make it to a job site because maybe it's too far away, or maybe you have so many jobs that you can't get to them during a big event. You can bill for remote monitoring and save labor. You can reduce PPE and customer visits. You can actually get readings for days when you cannot make it to the job site. So the equipment that's data logging, we allow you in the app, like let's say you couldn't get to the job site on Sunday, but Monday you can. When you come in, all the data from Sunday uploads to our cloud, and you can actually then go and take a reading from Sunday, even though it's now Monday, so we can backdate readings with smart equipment. We can help reduce lost equipment with our last known location feature, which is free. And we can help you get paid more quickly because you can receive notifications in real time if equipment is turned off. So you don't have to have that argument about who turned off the equipment, when did it happen, who's paying for the extra day of drying. We log all this information and notify you in real time if you have a dry phone on site. We can eliminate transcription errors and double entry by collecting the data directly from sensors and getting the data where it needs to go. We don't allow you to take readings while the equipment is in defrost, so we're using the smarts of the software to say, hey, if a technician is trying to take a reading in defrost, that's a bad idea. We will look for a better reading in our cloud where it's not in defrost and use that one instead. You get verified readings from the equipment. You also get verified equipment location and days of usage. So there's no need to take all the pictures and serial numbers of all the nameplates. That proves where the equipment was, prove if it was running, so you don't have to do any of that. Okay, and then looking at each individual device, I'll start with DryTag RH. Bring any dehumidifier into the DryLINK ecosystem with DryTag RH. You can see it's an MSRP of $99. It gives you temperature and relative humidity readings. You can automate the outlet of any dehumidifier. You can also set it up to use as a standalone thermal hygrometer. You can automate, as I mentioned, you can automate the unaffected, affected, and HVAC readings. And you can do equipment tracking, and you can receive alerts when used with the dry phone. Our smart dehumidifiers, we have the DryMax BLE and the DryMax XL. They're data logging, they're Bluetooth enabled, you get instant readings, there's sensor calibration, you can receive alerts if it's turned off or it loses power. You always get the last known location, and we have that upgrade kit for the original DryMax. And then the DryTag RH is what we use to turn a non-smart dehumidifier into a smart dehumidifier. Again, $99 MSRP. Smart air movers and other equipment. We have the AirMax BLE. Alerts if turned off or loses power. All information automatically loads into DryLINK. So if you bought like 100 air movers, if you just bought the beacon separately, you would have to set those up in the app. But when you buy the AirMax BLE directly from, well, not directly from Phoenix, through your distribution partners, it will already be preloaded in our cloud. So you pull the battery tab and all 100 air movers would load into DryLINK with their serial numbers and all the appropriate information. You can reduce job setup time, reduce lost equipment with the last known location. There's a battery level indicator for the DryTag. The MSRP on the AirMax BLE is only $26 higher than the standard AirMax, so we're giving you a price break when you buy it already built in. And then we have just the DryTag, which can be bought separately. You can add it to any equipment and use it in DryLINK. It's $49 MSRP. We obviously give volume discounts, as we know people would need to buy lots of these. And you can receive alerts if turned off or loses power. Okay, now the remote monitoring, as I mentioned, it's done with the dry phone. Some people ask, do you have to use the dry phone? Well, no, but we can only support the dry phone. It's actually a Samsung J7 running Verizon service. And because this phone is locked down and only runs the DryLINK app, and because it's one model, we can troubleshoot this in case you have any problems. There are, if you use your own phone, if the phone goes into sleep mode or if a text jumps on top of the app, it might stop transmitting, and that's why we sell the dry phone. You can receive alerts in real time, reduce homeowner contact and PPE usage. You can enter daily readings remotely. You can prioritize your on-site visits based on remote monitoring. And the Xactimate code, WTRRM, is for remote monitoring. It's $55 a day. It includes a gateway, that's the dry phone, and up to 10 sensors. can see the dry phone is $379. It includes 1 year of data, and the data after the first year is $129 for the second year if you choose to continue on with the subscription. Okay, then moving to the hygrometers and moisture meters. As I've mentioned, we have the DryTag RH as our thermal hygrometer. We've already talked about the things that it can automate. Then we also have the DrySense, which is the penetrating meter. You can push pins into wet drywall, or you can use the included harder materials accessory and stainless screws to go into harder material. MSRP on that is $99. And then I want to show you what our drying report looks like. We have a unique drying report, so I'm going to switch to that. Okay, so here's the drying report. We did a job at the Paul Davis Flood House last year. You can see we have all the customer information up here. There's some information about the job. You can switch in real time between imperial and metric, and it'll calculate on the fly for you. Over here you have the buttons to turn either the summary into a PDF or the full report into a PDF. And as you scroll down, you can see here is the project summary. Gives you the basic information about the job, loss type, wet square footage, volume information. As we scroll down, now this is a live web link, so each job has a unique web link, which is kind of cool. You can either share this with an adjuster, or you can just, if you don't want to do that, you can just create a PDF when you want to share. But this link is live, so as the days go on, if you hit refresh, you'll see the new information. And you can see that it gives you the GPP information on these affected areas over time, which is pretty cool. You have the legend down here. You can go over to moisture readings, and you can see all your moisture sensors. And then you can go to your outside and unaffected areas. So that's the summary page. And here's equipment summary for the entire job by Xactimate code. Helps out with billing. You can see we have a notes area. There's a spot for job notes. There's a spot for chamber notes. There we'll get to the actual drying chambers. I'll just go into the kitchen, living room, stairs area. And again, you can see we have the same kind of base information there. Then you have all your air readings. These are your GP affected area, and then the outlets of the various dehumidifiers. You can also go and look at the moisture readings. And if we keep scrolling down, here's all the individual readings. We were taking a lot. You wouldn't normally take that many, but we were just trying to see, what all we could do with the system. And then down here, you have each individual serialized piece of equipment that was in that drying chamber and when it was assigned and when it was removed. So that's what the drying report looks like. And now we're going to move on to software integrations and TPAs. So we do have an integration currently with Restoration Manager, and the way that works is jobs are created in Restoration Manager or pushed from Exact Analysis, and then those are further pushed into DryLINK, and then you go to the job site with DryLINK and you take all your daily readings and you do your on-site data collection, and then at the end there'll be a link in the Restoration Manager software, which will take you to the drying report, which I just showed you, and the inventories are synced in the way that I mentioned. And when you close the job in either one of the program, it closes the job in the other and returns the inventory to the available status. We will have an announcement coming with Crawford Contractor Connection that they will be using DryLINK. It will be available for their members to use and the drying report to turn in for jobs they're doing for Crawford. Exact Analysis, there's an integration going on. It's underway, which will allow you to receive jobs from Exact Analysis directly, and then the drying report to automatically go back into Exact Analysis. And then those familiar with Chuck DeWald and his E3 program, we are building that logic into DryLINK. It'll be an optional paid add-on where if you want to use E3, we will give you an implementation of that within DryLINK, which is pretty cool because we're using live data. And I think that's going to be an awesome implementation. And Chuck really has that dialed in. So look for that coming later in Q3. And then there's more to come. We have integrations in the works with Accelerate, Encircle, iRestore, and many others. Okay, and then as far as coming soon, there's we added rooms inside of drying chambers. That's been implemented. The IICRC equipment recommendations have been implemented. We do have videos on our website that can show you how to use these items. Then we have a web portal with app functionality that's coming in Q2 or Q3 of this year. I'll give you a sneak peek of that. And then advanced inventory tracking a little bit later in the year, and I'll give you a sneak peek of what that's going to look like. Okay, so your web portal, you can see all your jobs on any computer, and you can see that you can click on whatever ones you want, and then the map will scale to show you the jobs you've selected. You can see all job data for every job, and you get the app functionality on your PC, and we're going to allow for scheduled readings. Now, here's what this is going to look like. So if this is all my jobs here, and I'm looking at this map, but now I want to go to drying data to see all of the data. And I've now got this job selected, and here's my drying data. So you can just click through your jobs and see all your drying data and see if there are any jobs that you need to attend to more quickly than others. You can see all equipment by room and by chamber. We're going to have the ICRC equipment recommendations in there. And we're going to allow you to actually schedule your readings. This is a request we've had from many people. They're just saying, hey, this is a great system, but why do I even have to push a button? Why don't you just allow me to schedule a reading? So you can schedule a time. It'll take a reading every day. You can add as many as you like. So if you want to have 5 readings a day, you can schedule 5 per day. So look for that coming in the web portal soon. And then advanced inventory tracking. So this is going to be a cool system. Tracking inventory with no human interaction. It will know where it is by location. So whether it's in the warehouse, on a job, in a truck. You can receive alerts if equipment is left behind with geofencing. It'll be removed from a job if it goes outside of the geofence. You can have instant inventory auditing reports for when you leave a job, and you'll have a status indicator, like it's on a job and needs cleaning, available, or needs service. And there will be a monthly fee for this service, similar to other inventory tracking systems. And this is kind of what this looks like. The items over here are the ones that are transmitting information. So you need a dry tag or a dry tag RH for inventory tracking. And what it's going to do, it's sending out information every 10 seconds when it's on, every 1 minute when it's off. And then these are the devices you can receive it with. It's either your employee's phone, a dry phone, or a gateway. And we have a battery powered, a vehicle, and a Wi-Fi version. And then what will happen is these devices send out this information, and it's picked up by these items and shown on a map for you and organized so you know where it's at. So for example, you would have in your warehouse, you would have a Wi-Fi gateway that was constantly checking the inventory here. Your vehicles would have the vehicle powered gateway, so that when you turn on a vehicle, you get an instant scan. And then when you turn it off, you get another scan, and we check where the vehicle is, when and where. And then when you're on the job site, you're actually, if you're using DryLINK, we're going to know exactly where all your equipment is, what chamber it's in, everything about it, so that when you leave the job, if you forgot something in a crawl space, once we go outside the geofence, we could check the inventory in your truck compared to the inventory that was on the job. And if something's missing, we could actually alert you, hey, you left a DryMax in the crawl space at this job, you should go back. We're also going to have a battery powered solution for trailer type of storage and other offsite storage with no power. So look for that coming soon. And that is going to be it. So if anybody has any questions or comments, please feel free to leave that in the chat area, and I will get back to you promptly. And thank you so much for your time.